process that you use, your creative process. Could you please explain it to us?
For what? My creative process to do what?
To writing books. Like, what do you do? How do you start? When you actually get into the
pretend like I don't need money. That's number one. I pretend like I don't need the affection of my family. That's number two. I pretend like there's only me in the world.
So when you sit down and you actually start, do you have a particular ritual? You know, do you dress a certain way?
I used to get drunk.
Oh, okay.
I used to drink a lot, smoke cigarettes. That threw me in the mood where it made me feel that I could do anything that I wanted to do, which was also included to say whatever I wanted to say, because I have found that a state of inebriation worked very well to allow me to express myself.
So what do you do now? Because I know you don't drink anymore.
I pray a lot. I pray a lot so that I can continuously feel that I am free, and that I am free to say what I want to whom I want, and not be that concerned about the consequences of putting what is my most unique feature out there in the world where it can be heard, touched, listened to, rejected, spit on, or kicked. My mind.
Oh, that's interesting. So what would you recommend to someone who's writing now that they do, combined with everything that you just said?
Marry a rich man or woman that can support them. I had a patron which allowed me to be able to play as if I were a wealthy white woman, and that I could do whatever I chose, like the Brontes or whoever else along the way. It's freeing yourself sometimes is playing a game with yourself. It's going into illusion. It's going out of reality, because you have to rid yourself of your fears for the kind of writing I do. Now, there's writing, when you're talking about my kind of writing, and my kind of writing is very much involved in social change, political thought, action, coming by way of storytelling.
Well, what would you suggest to someone like a single parent in her 30s or 40s who wanted to write and wasn't married to a rich man, to free herself? What would you
single parent?
Yeah, what would you suggest to someone like that?
Get a babysitter, or take the child and grandmother and leave it so that it can be raised properly. Because for the kind of writing that I do, my characters sometimes absorb me, and as my own daughter had to say to me once when I was in the throes of my work, and she was suffering greatly for lack of attention, she did say to me, "Mama, is that you, or is that one of your characters?" You do the kind of writing that I do, and you play with the spirits, and you play with the muses. You basically are playing like God, that you can, through your pen and your mind and heart, you can make change. You can make yourself heard. It's a dangerous game. I don't write by formula. I wish I knew how. I don't write because my mother was a writer, or my grandmother, or my great-grandmother. I write because I must, because that is how. I basically make myself understand who I am.
How do you play with the muses? How do you play with the spirits?
I talk to them. I beg to see them. And I go places where they are. And sometimes that is not in a normal situation. Sometimes that is not on the block. Sometimes I have to run after them, and therefore running after them, I leave others behind that people normally don't, like my child, my husband, my sister, my mother, because I'm so determined that I have to be heard.
So
it's a very arrogant, dangerous stance.
Can you give me an example of what you mean when you say you run after them?
I run after them because my spirits sometimes don't like cities. don't like cities, don't like people, don't like responsibility other than being heard.
We're going to have to continue this in part 2.